It's a wonderful story, isn't it? The story of a little boy who has 2 little fishes and 5 loaves of bread, and somehow the whole of those 5,000 people, and it has to be said, according to some interpreters, there was a lot more than that, because the scriptures say 5,000 men, and there were obviously women and children as well. They tended to count the men first in those days, but it could well have been 10,000 or more people fed from 2 little fishes, 5 loaves of bread. Who remembers the Sunday school song about that? Yeah, I'm wondering if our youngsters can learn this, because it's quite simple. It just goes, 2 little fishes, 5 loaves of bread, 5,000 people by Jesus were fed. This is what happens when one little lad gladly gave Jesus all that he had. Yeah? Shall we try that? See if you can do it with me, yeah? So we'll try the actions. Here we go. 2 little fishes, 5 loaves of bread, 5,000 people by Jesus were fed. This is what happens when one little lad gladly gave Jesus all that he had. Isn't that fantastic? Yeah. Well done. Good singing. Yeah. This is, John has a word. John, who the writer of John's Gospel, has a word for so many of these miraculous events that he reports Jesus doing it. He calls them signs. If you go to the very first miracle, which was that of Jesus turning water into wine at a wedding, John calls that a sign. Now, we had a wedding here on Friday, didn't we, Paul? Yes, and Maz. Maz, give us a wave. You're separated from the rest of us. But Paul and Maz celebrated their marriage here on Friday, and they wanted me to thank you all who were able to be here to celebrate with them. Wasn't it a lovely occasion? Yeah, it really was. And a big thanks to them and to our bell ringers. I'm going to tell you a little secret. I said to Bill, our bell ringing captain, I said, are you going to ring the bells before or after? And he said, we're going to do both. He said, before and after, because that's what we do for our people, he said. So that's official, Paul. You and Maz, you're our people, yeah? That's it. No escape now. But let's give them our congratulations for those who couldn't be. So Jesus' first sign was that of turning water into wine at the wedding. I'm sure those who had to pay the bar bill on Friday would have been very happy if Jesus had done that down at the ship on Friday. But this is what Jesus did. He did signs to show people who he was, to demonstrate, as it were, that he had this divine power. And that power, of course, granted him authority, meant that people would take him seriously. He wasn't about miracles. Do you remember he had a bit of an argument with the devil before he started his ministry? And one of the things that the devil tempted him to do was to jump off the temple so that the angels would carry him safely to the ground. And Jesus said, no. In so many words, he said, we don't want to do fantastic miracles in order to kind of prove who we are. No, says Jesus. I want people to listen to what I teach. And the signs are just a way of giving some authority to that teaching so that we know to take him seriously. This miracle of the 2 little fishes and the 5 loaves of bread is what we call a multiplication miracle. Jesus did a few of these according to the Gospels. There's the time, for example, when he told the disciples to throw their net onto the other side of the boat. Do you remember that? And there were so many fish that they could hardly pull the net in. Yeah? It's a multiplication miracle. This one with 5,000 is repeated in another gospel with 4,000. So it's quite possible it happened more than once that Jesus did this act of feeding thousands of people with just a tiny amount of bread. And I love this story. I love the idea of Jesus creating these signs so that people would trust him when he tells them how to live. But as a liberal, as a liberal progressive Christian, I have to tell you, I'm also drawn to another interpretation of this story, which is this idea. The scripture tells us that this happened in a faraway place, away from towns and villages, up a mountain, in fact. And I like to imagine what it would be like to be a member of the crowd who's decided to climb the mountain to go and hear this prophet bloke speaking, yeah? and bringing all your kids and your family along with you. Now I'm looking over here at Millie and Paul, and I'm saying, if you were going to take your kids up a mountain, probably a day's hike, to go and hear this preacher, do you think you might pack some sandwiches? Yes, Millie's saying yes. She would pack some sandwiches because she'd know that after a while Inez would start going, I'm hungry. Yes, exactly. You would, wouldn't you? Yeah. So I think it's quite likely that most of the people in that crowd had stuck some sandwiches in their backpacks or in their pockets, you know. But then it got to feeding time, and they look around and they go, oh no, I'm not getting that sandwich out because that person next to me will ask for some. I haven't got enough for everybody. Yeah, I've got to keep it quiet. I'll disappear behind a rock and give a sandwich to my child, you know. We'll have a little nibble in secret, yeah. But then Jesus comes along and says, look, 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread. Let's start sharing. And he begins to distribute. And of course, those around him in that crowd who've also got food in their pockets or their knapsacks say, okay, yeah, I get it. Let's share what we've got with each other. And not only did they share, but they found they had 12 baskets of leftovers, because every mother overpacks, don't they, Millie and Paul? Yeah, they always put too many snacks in, yeah, because you never know how hungry they're going to be. There's 12 baskets left over. Now, I don't know which is the greater miracle, that Jesus miraculously multiplied this food. I'm fine with that. I believe he could do it. I'm absolutely okay with it. But is it not a greater miracle to show people how to share? Do you not think? It's the one thing we really need to know and learn as a society, is how to share, isn't it? If we could only share the resources that we have with those who have none, wouldn't the world be a better place? I want to thank all of you who have given donations in the last couple of weeks since I made an appeal for money for the Rector's Discretionary Fund. It's a brilliant way of Sandra and I being able to offer blessing to those who really need it, who come to us quietly and privately and say, I'm really struggling, I cannot pay the electric bill this week, or whatever the need may be. And if we know them, and we know that they're good people, and we know that they're genuinely in need, we can help them and bless them on your behalf. So thank you to all of you who have given to that fund. It's a way of sharing, and it's something that I think Jesus would have been immensely proud of when that little boy gave to Jesus all that he had. Let's sing the song one more time. 2 little fishes, 5 loaves of bread, 5,000 people by Jesus were fed. This is what happened when one little lad gladly gave Jesus all that he had. Give yourselves a clap.